Alright, guys.
Problem solved. The W Flash player could not be installed. No rhyme or reason. Let's
Beautiful.
just continue. Yep.
Alright,
All right.
so, as you guys in the chat know, we've got Gunmouth here,
Hello.
and Tsampikos,
Assalamu alaikum.
and you may know them from their art, and if you don't, I will provide links for them in the low bar. But for now, we are going to have a discussion about Undertale. Yes, and you can see on the screen now a little piece of art that I'm doing. Features Asriel, one of the villains, maybe, of Undertale. We're going to discuss that here in a minute. But first, before we get to that, I want to ask both of you guys, how did you hear about Undertale, and what were your expectations going in? We can start with Gunmouth.
Okay. Well, it's actually kind of a funny story there, because when I originally saw stuff for Undertale, I knew nothing about it, and I only saw what people were drawing. So everybody was drawing this fish lady, and I was just like, huh, there's a story about this game called Undertale starring, I guess this fish lady's the main character because everybody's drawing her. So I thought that you play as Undyne in the game. Like, I thought that she was the main character, and you just run around, you like chuck spears at people or whatever. Or yeah, dude, seriously, that's what I thought it was, and I was just like, huh, I guess that's cool. And then I saw these other characters and learned that she wasn't the main character, and I was like, oh, it's this other like kid thing. Okay, well, I guess that's cool. So I was kind of in for surprise when I actually played for the first time.
Dude, that would be so much fun. Just run around as Undyne.
Just run around
chucking
spear
shit,
chucking at everybody and just murdering everybody with infinite laser spears.
smiling at everybody.
Ta-da! Yeah,
That would be pretty cool. That needs to be a mini game.
you're working to basically pay for your dental operations and shit, right? So,
Yes.
be a beautiful game.
Or you're trying to get to Hotland to impress. Oh Jesus, what's her name now? Alphys. Yeah, you're trying to get to Hotland so that you can impress Alphys and ask her out on a date.
There you go.
And along
What
the
do you
way,
need?
you like pick up your armor. You like get the individual pieces of your
Oh,
armor.
jeez.
That'll be great.
So it'd be a Metroidvania.
Yes. Dude, I think that'll be so much fun. But so how about you, Tsampikos? What were your expectations going in? Or did you have any?
A couple of years ago, I did some like pixel art Flash things, and somebody said that was it inspired by Undertale, and I thought it was like, I don't know, this Homestuck inspired like RPG. This was after the Kickstarter was done, like a few weeks, but there was just a little bit of fan art trickling in, and what I expected was like more of what you got in the tutorial area, because I think at the time the demo was just, up until the Toriel fight, and I thought it would just be, character and Toriel's happy fun time adventures underground,
Yeah.
and I was shocked, honestly, by how interesting it got after the end.
You weren't necessarily wrong.
And by the
Yeah.
end, which part do you actually mean? Because it's like it
Okay,
seems
okay,
like
yeah.
it has multiple endings.
Right. I would say the neutral, because it implies extra things happen, and of course they do. And during the course of that, should you accidentally kill something, how much do you want me to get into it? Like,
Dude, just go for it. Whatever.
Yeah, spoiler warning for those who don't
Yes, spoiler alert. If you guys
know. This whole thing's spoiler alert.
well,
this
yeah.
entire thing is, we're not even gonna bother with trying to censor spoilers. So if you're listening on YouTube, go away. If you're listening in the stream, go away. But if you don't give a crap and you've already played, then stick around. Go for it.
Well, yeah, the surface story, like the first neutral run it was cute. It was like an adventure comic, I like prequel a lot, Ruby Quest, that sort of thing. But like, I don't know, in video game form, it was really unexpected. There's a lot of funny things going on, a lot of interesting characters, a lot of lovable characters. But then certain things that you thought were random at first started coming together, and Yeah, the pacifist run, it it went places.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there's some hints of maybe suicide, patricide, uh, a murder boner for humans.
Mm.
Then might be one for everyone. A lot of unanswered questions, and then the genocide run happened, and I thought it was just a challenge mode until like the last, I don't know, depending on how long it took you to finish the last legs of it, from Asgore's house onwards.
Mm-hmm.
Then you realize, holy shit, this is like a causal loop of hell for, well, a few characters, all involving time in some way, but in uniquely different ways. I guess one for Chara, one for Asriel slash Flowey,
Mm-hmm.
and then one for Sans. They don't exactly know what the nature of their powers are. I think most of the backstory is spent with them trying to figure things out themselves. But in the meantime, I don't think any of them really get anywhere. And despite there being definite endings, I don't actually know what to take away from this all. Like, what is the ultimate ending? What's canon? What's just another thread in the string universe of Undertale?
This is gonna sound. I guess this is gonna sound weird in some ways, but I believe that Undertale, the true ending is whatever you choose.
Mm.
It's basically this is. I guess this is gonna sound weird, but Undertale is split into several thousand universes. All right, which is each and every person's experience of the game.
Mm.
The characters exist. The characters exist as however you interacted with them. So ultimately, you can choose. Hey, you save all of them, you help all of them, or you kill them all. And the game makes sure that once you decide one or the other, they tell you, hey, if you play this game again, you're going to screw everything up. You're going to reset everything. Everything that people have worked for is going to go away, and you risk damaging their futures by playing it the second time. Basically hinting, I mean, that's what happens when you play a second time after getting the true ending or the happy ending. Flowey comes onto the screen and says, hey, don't do this. You're going to ruin Frisk's happiness.
Mm-hmm.
So...
I would argue against that because the onus isn't on us, because before we got there, Flowey had that power, and Flowey was doing the same thing.
Oh yeah, he was. but ultimately you are the one who are going to be able to decide what happens.
Mm.
So you're saying the causal loop ends once the barrier is broken?
The causal loop ends whenever you decide to finish the game, or if you decide to do the evil run and kill everybody, then you decide to restart the world after it's already been destroyed. It gives you that option, and it says, hey, if you want to do this, then you got to sell me your soul. And if you agree to do that, then the game is permanently tainted. Assuming you don't break into it and do all that.
That's
that
during the
technical-
genocide run, yeah?
Yeah.
Yes, if you finish the genocide run and try to start all over again after you've already erased the world, basically when you try to start the game again, it's nothing but blackness and like wind blowing in the background. And if you wait for 10 minutes, then a voice comes out of nowhere, assuming it's Kara's voice, and he's like, interesting, you want to bring this back after you've already destroyed it? Why? There's no point. And they're like, well, if you want it, maybe we can help each other out. You still have something that I want. If we start this up again, then you need to give me your soul. And if you say yes, it restarts. If you say no, then you go back to waiting 10 minutes in darkness. Because it won't let you start unless you sell your soul.
Yeah.
Which
That's a
I
little
thought
bit
was creepy
creepy.
as hell.
Yeah.
I was just like, usually it's kind of like in Ghostbusters, when something asks of your god, you say yes, in this case, if someone asks for your soul, you say no.
Yes.
So that's just the way it is. I don't care if it's a video game. I don't care if it's a Pop-Tart or something. You don't sell your soul to anything.
You kind of
It was really weird. And so, but when you say yes, if you try to go for the good ending again and try to make everything right again, you can't.
Yeah, because at
But
the
you
end,
said that once the barrier is broken, then that's it. The process is ended. You see, to me, Chara is the only constant. And when you beat the game in Genocide Run,
Yeah.
the constant becomes Chara winning every time.
Yeah,
But
if
there's
you
still a reversal in time whenever you restart the game. So to me, that doesn't end the storyline at all. I don't think there is an ending.
you don't think there is an ending? I mean, it implies what's going to happen if you play the what is it, the mercy route. If you play the mercy route after doing a genocide run, it shows you at the end that Kara is still in control, and that basically it implies that Kara killed everybody.
Right. Whether you stay or whether you leave.
Yes.
But that's the thing. That means that the causal loop isn't over because either one can happen. Because there's no end, it's continuing to loop back to the same.
Yeah, but it doesn't loop back if you don't play.
Well, there is that.
Yeah, that's so like after you do the mercy route, you can just never play again, or you can if you want to. But if you choose to play again, you can do mercy again, and it'll just pretty much repeat. But you can choose to not play it again, just leave it as it is, as they ask you to, and that's it. The game's over. You interacted with it the way you wanted to, and that's the end.
So is this all like kind of revealed in the kind of the Gaster sideline, or?
That's the Gaster stuff is stuff that you can uncover if you dig into it, or if you just look online because everybody reported it and everything. I actually got really fucking interested in that stuff because there was a WD Gaster website, and it had entry number 17, which is darker yet darker, photons fading, all that stuff. All right, and there was like a secret code that if you deciphered it, you could go into the source data on the webpage and find an email, and you send a message to the email, and the email sent you a message back, and it was all these numbers, and one of the parts of the puzzle said there is no need for the space in between. So I got rid of all the space in between the numbers, and I was like, what if I put these numbers at the end of the website? And a new message appeared with all this creepy music and shit, and I thought it was official. I swear to God, I thought it was official because the puzzle kept on going. Like there was more puzzles after that. But it turns out, even though it was fucking awesome, it turns out that they say that a fan made it, and they were just really good at what they made, so it was really convincing. There is one more thing though, and I'm going to link this to everybody. And this is something that I've never been able to figure out.
While he's doing that, I personally don't know anything about Gaster. I tried to stay strictly with whatever I could find within the game itself.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't want to go too far down that foxhole, because it sounds like you two could rattle on about that for hours.
It's kind of it's one of those things where there's so much mystery behind it, and Toby's only left bits and pieces of it in there, and we're trying to focus on other things. But if you notice that link I sent, flowyflower.tumblr.com, all you get is gray background and an enter password prompt.
Yeah.
And I have tried so many fucking passwords for that site, and I've just not been able to find it.
Maybe it doesn't have one. Or maybe it's just a random string of numbers that nobody can ever decipher. I don't know. If someone hasn't deciphered it by now, then it might not have a password. Or there might be...
I don't know. Also, why would Toby bother making, like,
I don't think Toby would bother with a Tumblr. I think he would just go ahead and do a whole website.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I guess essentially it's a question of what we thought when we started playing, when we found it. Yeah. Sorry, continue.
Okay. So, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just move on to question number 2.
Yeah, sure.
So, do you guys think that Asriel is in fact the villain of Undertale, or do you think someone else is the villain?
You can go ahead and start with this one, AJ.
No, Asriel's a victim in all this because he is a child, and he stays a child mentally. Throughout any playthrough you get through, everything processes his conclusions. It's all very immature. It's all try-hardy, but I forgive him for it.
Yeah.
It's not his fault, and that's made clear in the Genocide Run. A lot of people have their aversions to playing it. To me, it was one of the most important runs because it told me a lot about Flowey, Shara, and Sans. Although Sans doesn't really factor into the backstory too much, I just like him a lot. But yeah, my answer is no, I don't think he's the villain at all.
In that case, do you think Undertale even has a villain, and if so, who?
Undertale, I would say that the villain per se is the villain is the ill intent.
What?
That's his king.
On a man that was going down a path that he didn't belong on. I'm quoting Kingpin from Daredevil. No,
I haven't seen season 2 yet. Shit.
It's season 1.
Oh, crap.
And the
I don't
season
remember
1.
that.
But basically, the villain. There is no real villain. There's an antagonist. Because essentially, the antagonist as well is kind of flowy, because he's trying to make everything bad for everybody. But as AJ said, you find out that he's just a victim in all of this, and it's actually kind of funny because you don't really see or hear much about Korra at all in the Mercy Run, because all you know about him are what Asriel tells you at the end, or from the videos that you find in the lab. Like in the neutral run, shit, you don't hear hardly anything at all. You hear that a human child died, and that's about it. And so it's actually kind of creepy in some ways, because they reveal Korra later, and they kind of keep on connecting Korra to you, because again, you have the ability to name the fallen child, and nobody calls you that name except for Flowey and Asriel, because they think that you're them. Everybody else calls you human. Like, they don't even bother to learn your name or whatever. So it's kind of well done in the fact that you don't really notice that nobody's calling you by your name except.
I thought Toriel calls you by your name.
No, my child. She called you my child.
Oh, yeah, she does.
So
Holy shit.
no one ever calls you by your name except for Flowey, who thinks that you are this other kid. And so I thought that was part of me thought that was kind of unfair, but also part of me thought that was kind of cool, because, it's like you think that, oh, you're naming this kid who fell, but in reality you're naming the fallen child as in the evil child. And I don't know, this is a theory of mine that when you naming the child brings it back to life, sort of like you're summoning him. Because if you play a Genocide Run twice, Korra appears at the end and says, "Hi, I'm Korra, the demon that comes when people calls his name or its name." Like, it refers to itself as a demon. And I don't know if Korra becomes a demon, if like he became a demon, or if it just started. And this is where I kind of go into that. more into fan theory or whatever, which is the fact that I think that something else was involved. Something else was involved in corrupting Kara to begin with, because man, he fell like very, very far. Okay, and when Kara fell, I don't think those flowers were there to lessen the fall at all. And so I don't know. It's really weird. I kind of figured that there's an outside force that isn't seen, that kind of corrupted Kara to begin with, and Kara basically was just. I mean, all the evil plans were made by Kara. He had planned to kill himself and combine with Asriel to go up and basically kill everybody that offended him. And part of me even thinks that he purposefully made the scene of Monster carrying a dead kid in hopes that the humans would attack Asriel, and in hopes that Asriel would be like, oh look, they're attacking me, better attack them back.
Now, what would the motivation of such acts be? I mean, who would want to do such things?
See, that's the... Go ahead.
It was explicitly stated that when Asriel got the soul of Kara, I'm not exactly sure to say the name, that one controlled one half and one controlled the other, and that Asriel tried to stop Char from killing everyone, and that's why they ultimately failed. And I think the point was, though, to bring back human souls back to the barrier so that they can break it, so that humans can either mutually destroy the monsters, or, I don't know, one wins over the other. The motivation is kind of... It's not explicitly stated, it's just stated that Chara tried to do something, and Asriel did what he could to stop it.
Yeah.
And that's why they ultimately failed.
Yeah, because...
it is mentioned at the end of the Genocide Run that Asriel's afraid that Chara wants everything to die, like both the monsters and the humans. And outside of the barrier, we don't actually know what happens.
Yeah.
It's just assumed that if you beat the Genocide Run, you are this super beast god monster, and you win.
They say that Kara hated humanity, and that he just detested them, and that he wanted to kill them, but Asriel would not let him.
So basically, Kara was trying to use the monsters as some kind of weapon.
Or just use himself, because they were basically like on their way to becoming super god mode thing.
Wow, that's pretty freaking deep.
Isn't it the dummy in the garbage dump that says that once a boss monster acquires the souls of humans, you will become a god?
Essentially, and Asriel is a boss monster. He's a young boss monster, basically.
Because of the mother inspirations, I just feel like Kara is a Gigas-like corruptive force.
He kind of is, yeah.
And maybe on his own, he doesn't have enough power to destroy humanity, so
no,
they concoct this plan to eventually cause this situation where they would eventually get their hands on all the souls, so that mutually assured destruction occurs.
Here's another interesting thing that I was thinking about the other day, and I mentioned this to you, AJ, one time. At the very end, you're sitting there, and Flowey is like, "Look, it's me. I'm Asriel. Please don't kill me." And then suddenly you see him getting stabbed. Okay, over and over and over again, he's getting slashed at.
Yeah.
All right. Now, the weird thing is that people are like, "Oh, well, that's when Kara takes over your body." Right, and you basically stabbed him, like you didn't get a choice.
No.
And well, part of me is just like, well, I don't know about that, because part of me thinks that Flowey dying right there is Kara breaking out, because you have the choice to bring Kara back or to bring Asriel back, throughout the game, right? And so if you do the Mercy route, you bring Asriel back, and if you do the Genocide route, you bring Kara back. And the thing is that Kara is staring at you, much like Flowey was staring at you. Okay, and at the very, very end, Kara attacks you, and like super ultra kills you. Okay, and that's why I think that it's when you see Korra at the end, that doesn't mean that's not him taking over Frisk's body. That's him facing Frisk because when he slashes you, he's attacking Frisk and killing Frisk, severing your tie, severing your connection to the game. And so that's at least that's the theory I have because why else would he attack you? He's not like actually hurting you in real life. You know, he's not killing you, but he attacks the screen, which the screen is looking at the villains, the bad guys and stuff like that. You were looking at Flowey just a second ago. Flowey crumbles or appears to get slashed, and then Korra appears. And I believe that basically you did all this stuff that essentially brought Korra back to life, and then he kills you to sever your connection. Or he kills Frisk to sever the connection.
So what you're saying is that there's a trinity going on. There's
sort
the
of,
first
yeah.
child, Korra, there's Frisk, and then there's you. So are all three of you possessing this body simultaneously, depending on which run you're going through?
You kind of possess Frisk's body. That's your connection to the game.
Me as in me, the player.
The player, yes. You, the player, possess Frisk's body because you're controlling them. You're basically controlling them, guiding them, whatever. You are deciding what they do. Okay, you are the player. You are in control, essentially.
This game got a whole lot darker really quickly.
and so here's another like mind blower, because they call Korra they, and they also call Frisk they, and it's intended for gender neutrality so that people can be like, oh, it's a girl or oh, it's a boy.
Yeah.
Okay, but what if they called both of them they because Asriel could see more than one person?
Maybe the reason why
Dun, dun,
Asriel
dun.
thought Frisk was Char is because maybe Char possessed us, the player, who possessed Frisk, who during the genocide route lets Frisk or Char free.
Well, that's also possible. It's maybe in some ways since you're supposed to name the character, you naming the character after yourself makes a connection.
Yeah, it did make it creepy when Fluff Kevlar named the character after himself.
Yeah,
all the
and
messages.
so it turns out it's just like, oh hey, so that's me. You just named me. I actually tried to start the game over and choose a blank name, but it won't let you.
Dude, is anyone else getting never-ending story vibes from all this?
It's kind of like that, isn't it? Yeah.
It's like, oh hey, you've been a part of the story all along, and I'm like, I'm really freaked out right now.
I'm getting more of a Dark Souls vibe, actually.
I've never even played Dark Souls, so I'd have no idea.
Well, the basic gist of what I'm getting at is there's an endless cycle that involves, over time, collecting souls, certain powerful souls manifesting themselves in individuals just to reach an end, and one of the two endings is you become a Lord of Cinder, which is where you keep the flames of the bonfire lit, whatever that means. One is a Lord of Darkness, which is where instead of using the souls to linking the flame, you use the souls just as a human to create a new kingdom. You use it as a power gain. It's an endless cycle, though. There is no beginning, there is no end. Well, there might be an end. I haven't actually played Dark Souls 3 yet, but that's what it reminds me of. That this is actually a causal loop. I don't know if the humans created it through the barrier. I don't know if Kara created it. I don't know if it happens when Kara actually falls and does something. I'm not actually sure. What I do know is, can't really know anything about this goddamn game. What I do feel is like there is definitely an endless loop going on. And it's supposed to change from person to person. And it's supposed to change the timeline every time you start the game. And whenever you stop the game.
Well, my mind is blown.
See, and the thing is everything that we've said is for the most part hypothetical. There was a lot of people that thought that Frisk was like a reincarnation of Kara.
Yeah.
For reasons that were actually changed. One of the main reasons was if you go back to the coffin after you beat Flowey, or actually I think after you even defeat Asriel, I think. When you go back to the coffin, it used to say there are some bandages at the bottom, like at the bottom of the coffin. Okay, and so people were thinking, bandages? When you start the game, you have a bandage! Dun dun dun! But it's... They make several references to the bandage as being an adhesive bandage, like, stick on.
It's a Band-Aid.
It's a Band-Aid, yes. In fact, when you fight Ultra Flowey, when it shows the Band-Aid on the screen, it is an adhesive bandage. And when you take off the bandage and put it back on, it says still kinda gooey.
Ew.
So, like a used Band-Aid, yes.
I can't remember the last time I used a bloody Band-Aid. But
It's all about that gauze and that tape.
yeah, man, for real. Do it like a
That
man.
shit clean.
If it's small enough for a Band-Aid, it's small enough to be ignored. At least in my opinion. So, are you guys ready to move on to the next question?
Yeah,
or?
sure, why not?
Oh,
Go ahead.
yeah.
Okay.
If we indeed answered them.
Yeah, you did answer. I think you both kind of answered in a roundabout way. Basically, Asriel is not the villain. He's a victim in all this, and if anybody's the villain, then it's Kara. Really, they're the one that incited all this.
Kara / you, like the player.
Which is freaky.
Yeah.
It just depends on your choices and your point of view, I suppose.
Yeah, the game ridicules you over and over and tries to guilt you into stopping. It even says, hey, even Flowey is just like, yeah, I just wanted to see what happens. That's why everybody does this, right? They just want to see what happens. Because their curiosity gets the best of them. They just want to play a game. And they try to tell you, like, that, you're going down the wrong path.
Flowey goes as far as saying that even people who are watching this happen, who are too weak to do it themselves, they're still monsters.
Yeah.
They're still
Because
bad.
you're still curious. You still
Well, not
got
literally.
that. Yeah, but you still got that morbid curiosity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna use that, and I'm gonna move into the next little question I've got for you guys. What makes a good villain in your opinion? What do you look for in a villain? What do you want? What turns you on in a villain?
It has to be inspired by David Bowie.
Oh, God.
It's all about Yoshikage Kira. It's all about, all the characters from Metal Gear Solid.
Fuck, I can't argue with that.
I can't argue with that
No,
either.
how can you say no to anything,
man.
David Bowie?
Labyrinth. Come on.
Dude, King Jarrett, come on. Come on. It has to be King Jarrett.
Alright, well, moving on. No, I'm joking.
I mean, that's the answer to that question. Let's move on.
That's the too long don't read answer.
Yeah.
There you go. That's fucking funny as hell. I would say relatability.
Yeah.
Relatability, a really good villain, in my opinion, is a villain that you can kind of understand his motives.
Yes. A villain you can get behind.
Yeah, a person who, or at least someone who you can understand why he's doing what he's doing.
Can you provide any
Okay.
examples?
I
know I can.
There's a few one of the examples I can think of. Let's use a recent superhero movie like Two-Face, Harvey Two-Face.
Okay.
Okay, he tried to be a good, just man, and it only led to he got no reward out of it. Basically, the girl he loved died, okay, and everything turned against him. And so he was like, well, if that's the way it is, then it's like a flip of the coin. You live or you die, good or bad. It doesn't freaking matter. It's all chance. And so they kind of did a good job writing him there, where it's just like it's tragedy kind of shaped the monster, and so it's one of those things like it. I mean, sure, there's a little bit to be admired from the whole snidely whiplash, thing where it's just like, I'm just doing this to be evil.
That's my papyrus voice, by the way.
There you go. There's.
I mean, that can be done right, okay? And the one instance in which I know that's been done right is Frieza. Okay?
Yeah.
Frieza is an evil son of a bitch, and he knows it, and he loves it, and you love him because he loves being evil.
Sure,
you know?
exactly. And it's just like, sometimes Master Wayne, people just want to watch the world burn. It's fun to get those villains every once in a while. People who are just like, fuck it all. I love being this way. I'm evil. Blah blah blah. But there's also those villains that, like, I think the easiest cop-out villain is the I'm doing this because I want money.
Yeah, like Penguin or something like that.
Yeah, like just, I mean, shit, name any movie where it's just like, I'm an evil politician and I want to be elected, or I want power. And it's just like, yeah, you can have those villains, but they're a dime a dozen.
I'll tell you which villain I think is really relatable. Fucking Megatron.
I love fucking Megatron.
I don't know anything.
Dude,
about
I would so get behind Megatron because he makes perfect sense.
Yeah. No, I mean, even like the old '80s cartoon Megatron. He's evil, and he does a little bit of that, like, I love being evil type thing, but you find out later that Megatron just wanted to make his people great. Megatron wanted to, realize that like, hey, in order for us to survive, we need to be dominant, we need to be powerful.
He wants to make Cybertron great again.
He wants to make Cybertron great again, and he wants his people great again. Yes. Okay.
I need that baseball hat now. I need it.
And so his view was, hey, Prime, in order for this to work, we need to be this way. And Prime was like, no, we can't be this way. Essentially Megatron was like, hey, for the survival of our people, we need to be invaders.
Yeah.
We need to be terrible. We need to be terrible for the sake of our people. And Prime was like, no, we can't do that. And so that's where they kind of parted separate ways.
Yeah. So in that universe, would you actually side with Megatron?
No, I wouldn't side with Megatron.
That's not just because you're a human, is it?
No, it's not. It's not just because I'm human, but it's because I think it's kind of the easy way out. In some ways. It's like because so many people, like, I'm the kind of person who's like, I think everybody deserves a chance to redeem themselves. It's easy for anybody to be like, oh, well, in order for everything to be awesome, let's just get rid of poor people. Let's just get rid of, like, we could, like, nuke the ghetto and just get rid of and just be like, well, that's a sure way to get rid of drug dealers. People who are quote unquote leeching off society and stuff like that. I mean, but that's evil.
Yeah.
Or at least by our definition, it's evil.
Yeah.
So
and I can see what you're saying when you say, that's just the easy way out. Just fucking nuke it from orbit and that'll fix it. Where really it won't fix anything.
Yeah.
But
it's and like it's kind of like a totalitarian view that Megatron has, which is just like, hey, we need to focus on our benefit and our benefit alone.
It is, but think about it. If your race was almost wiped out from the planet, like say humans had the ability to star travel, okay, and there were only a few hundred humans left, and there was a planet with like some monkeys on it that were barely able to talk. Okay, but that planet was the only habitable planet in like the galaxy. Who would you
Yeah.
side with? I'll be perfectly
Um,
honest and say I'd probably side with Megatron. It sucks we've got to get rid of the monkeys, but look, it's you or
well,
me, bruh.
that's true. I mean, well,
Well, morals are.
in go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, excellent. Just clicking my mic. Um, Morals are relativistic. It's to me, it's based on biological imperative in that if it benefits you, then what you do is for your own good. Therefore, it is good. If it's opposed to anyone else, even if it's a majority, then what you do is evil because it's opposed to a thing.
Um,
Like it's just, I guess what I'm saying is, it's it's the opposite side of a coin. Um,
it's
I don't believe in a true evil because I don't believe in good and evil as being um, constants.
hmm
yeah.
I'm
They
sorry.
kind of shift over time and depending on the situation.
Right.
well,
Like
it's
let's say there's, like you were saying, there's the planet full of monkeys who can barely talk, and there's 100 humans left. What would you do? For the benefit of humanity, you would eat all the monkeys, right? You'd
Bah.
take over their planet.
Yeah, I
all
probably
right.
wouldn't eat them, but I would be like, look, if it has to be either you or me, it's gonna be it's gonna be friggin' me. I'm gonna be the one that lives, you know.
To the
Well, yeah.
chicken,
Hopefully, I mean, in a situation, it's just like in this situation, you'd hope that you'd be able to reason with the monkeys or whatever.
Yeah,
yeah, but
And
where's that line? Where's that line drawn? Like, where is the constant that says one thing is okay and one thing isn't? To the chicken, humanity's evil. We're
yeah,
cultivating them. We're killing them by the billions, in excess. Year by year.
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
I'm sorry for the non-answer, but that's just what I believe.
yeah, it's a
It's
situation.
actually very complicated.
It
It
is very
is.
it is very complicated. I mean, like, but we're talking about it. We're talking about a situation. For one thing, we're straying from fucking Undertale to Megatron.
We totally did. I mean, basically, this whole thing is just about villains, really. So we don't have to
Villains, yeah.
strictly stick to Undertale, you know.
But it's just like obviously when it comes down to survival, okay, if you're in a war situation or a situation where you know that these people are going to kill you or do harm to you, you know, you gotta defend yourself. As far as like wiping people out or enslaving them, because Megatron wanted to enslave people. He didn't want to kill everybody. He wanted to enslave humanity
Mm.
because it would be within their best interests or some shit, I guess.
I thought it depended on which generation Megatron we're talking about, because I could have sworn one of them just wanted to friggin' annihilate everything. He was constantly trying to destroy the humans on the planet.
I I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
remember. I don't remember if he wanted to really necessarily destroy everybody. He talked a lot about enslaving humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't
Because he kind
remember.
of saw us as nothing but thralls, yeah?
Yeah, well, just people that were meant to serve their cause.
So
You know.
we were so inferior that morals didn't apply to us. Well, their morals, I should say.
Yeah, that's it. They had morals. Well, they did have morals to begin with. Optimus
Yeah,
Prime.
it's like we're like cattle. We're like meant to move the heavy objects and to, you know, to be used as they see fit, I suppose.
Well, to get back to Undertale for a second,
Yeah.
do we know why the humans went to war with the monsters? The monsters being demonstrably weaker?
They never did explain, but I think I pretty much know why. I think they went against monsters because monsters, if they don't have children, they're essentially immortal.
Hmm.
And you can
So
think
what,
of
like jealousy?
you can think of all sorts of different scenarios that would pop up in these kind of situations. Okay, imagine you have like you're a kingdom and you're a king, and you're like, okay, that's the other kingdom. They're monsters. All right. Well, that's kind of scary. They're kind of big. They're kind of gross looking.
and they've got different magical powers and whatnot. Whatever, that's fine. And then you find out, oh wait, they don't age. They stay young. I'm getting older. I'm dying. Like,
well, it's explicitly stated that they are much weaker than humans.
they are much weaker.
And also, as magic-based beings, they're not. I don't think we compete for the same resources.
Yeah.
Then there's the fact that it said that the human soul stays around longer. Like I don't. I don't see anything that paints humans in a good light in Undertale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're kind
Like,
of just
humans
like,
obviously have magic because they created that barrier to begin with.
Well, yes, they did. Yes, they did. They did have magic. But what I'm trying to say is that, like, I think that it's because of, like, the monster's inherent immortal abilities, like
well, they can control fire, for heaven's sake.
they can, but again, AJ said that they had magic too. Humans had magic at the time too.
Yeah.
But I mean, it could have been anything. It could have been a misunderstanding. It could have been like a situation where you know, maybe a human liked a monster, and maybe they tried to have the relationship work out, and one got older and the other stayed young because they never could have a children together, being human monster. And so you have a situation where it's just like there's just anger, jealousy. I imagine this whole story in my head of like Asgore once liking a human, but the human got old, so he ended up getting with Toriel.
That's a headcanon.
That's a headcanon, but it's an example, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Alright, it's an example of the many reasons why one person would be afraid or upset with someone else for being immortal, essentially.
I mean, dude, it doesn't even really have to get that deep. I mean, look
doesn't.
at what we're dealing with over here in Europe with the migrants. I mean, it's very, very easy to hate someone that doesn't
Just as different, yeah.
is different and doesn't look like you. I mean, humans can't figure out how to get along with our own species. How do you think we'd act if there was another species thrown into this mix?
That's true.
You know,
That's
like
true.
humans. If there's one thing humans are really adept at, it's hatred.
It's in our dinner.
It's in our dinner. You know, to hate the other. You know, they might have done nothing wrong, but you know, just fear. You know. Fear is simple. It's like friggin' Mayor Bellwether said in friggin' Zootopia. Fear always works.
Fear always works.
You know? So, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I always found it, you know, quite easy to understand how the humans hated the monsters. I mean, just the way they looked.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you
I don't know, man. The monsters are pretty cute.
They are kind of cute.
Like most of them, actually.
I mean, Toriel, I just want to give a huge fucking hug every time I see her.
I don't know, man. When the first child fell, you know she wanted Asgore to use their soul to pass the barrier and collect more souls, right?
Oh, jeez. I didn't know that.
This is we actually had an argument about this. Like,
I wouldn't call it an argument. You saw the dialogue on the screen yesterday.
she said yes, you could have. If you really wanted to do something, you could have taken the one person's soul, and you could have gone out and gotten other souls, and then released everybody peacefully. Which I don't understand how it would have been peacefully to begin with.
But instead, he took the coward. He took the coward's way out, which disgusted her so much.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean she wanted him to kill them.
Then what about it disgusted her? The fact that he wanted to do it but didn't want to do it?
Well, I always thought that it was the fact that he was just waiting for people to fall down so that he could kill them instead of just taking the one and going out and doing it manually. That's what I always thought. I don't know. I could be totally wrong on that.
No. That's a way to interpret it. There is no, like, finite answer because we don't get to know what happened back then because we never saw it. We just know conversations that happened afterwards. I'm just saying, let's say, for argument's sake, that this is what Toriel actually wanted. Or let's say this is what Asgore did. Would Toriel have still exiled herself if Asgore did take the soul, killed 6 more humans, and broken the barrier, and they were set free? Because as far as I know, she's disgusted by him primarily for being a coward.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
But they never tell you what precisely is the nature of his cowardice.
Well, it's the fact that he doesn't want to fight. That's my takeaway. That, to me, it was written all over the screen.
I'm
not trying to be condescending. I mean, literally, that's why.
Yeah. Like, I still like the way. The thing is that if that was her stance on everything, if she was just mad at him for his indecision, then why would she even care? Like, why would she ever care for all the children that fell through?
Yeah. Why would she be so upset?
Why would she bother?
Because her son died. And Asgore could have prevented that.
How?
By killing the first child himself, crossing the barrier, killing 6 more humans, and breaking the barrier. Asriel didn't have to get involved at all.
Well, what if Asgore was content to raise Kara as his own and not kill Kara? What if Asgore was
no,
being
hold on, stop for a second. She never was saying that if he had killed Kara, that this never would have happened.
I thought Kara was the first.
When she said the other child fell down, I don't think she was talking about Kara, because he never wanted revenge until after both Asriel and Kara died.
So do you think the fact that they had this human soul and that one of the boss monsters could have taken it to cross the barrier didn't cross their mind?
No, I'm sure it could have crossed their mind, but she didn't hate him for not killing him in the first place.
Oh, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that.
Like they were devastated.
She doesn't like the
lost.
fact that he's not willing to make these executive decisions, because here he is with multiple souls at some point, and he still hasn't crossed the barrier. He can cross it at any point in time.
Yeah.
He just doesn't do it.
Yeah, he could have crossed. I mean, he could have crossed with like 2 souls. It didn't friggin' matter, and he could have found.
Yeah, sorry.
He could have found like other crappy people, and and been like, these guys dead. All right, now we're free because I can break the barrier.
Yeah, sorry.
I found like 6 other murderers like in the world, and I destroyed them, and I released ourselves like peacefully, quote unquote. I don't even know why she said the words peacefully, because there's nothing peaceful about killing anybody.
Peaceful about killing people. I mean, you could walk to your nearest
there
penitentiary
is
and be
one
like,
peaceful way. You could just bring the dying to the barrier.
well, there's that too. Or you could go to your nearest penitentiary and just get the first 5 guys on death row, and just be like, hey, what's up? I'll take those guys off your hands.
Stand in a hospital and wait for souls to like suck into you.
Or just build a temporary hospital at the barrier.
Yeah.
Just things to sort themselves out.
Lord.
But yeah, if I mentioned that Toriel wanted to kill the child, it's my mistake. It's just that I have internalized it as there has to have been a conversation that involved her taking this soul for one of them to cross the barrier to at some point gather more souls to break the barrier.
But I always thought that Toriel was happy being underground, that all she really wanted was to be a mother.
She was. I mean, for the most part, they were kind of cool just being where they were. I mean,
Real talk, underground seemed like a great place for everyone.
It really kind of was. The monsters weren't really that vicious. In fact, they were only vicious because they were ordered to be.
The only people that had it rough was Burger Pants being like Metaton's throw rug.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, which pretty much reinstates the 100% fact that robots are pure evil.
Yes. They're going to kill us all.
Megaton is a ghost inhabiting a robot.
That Megaton is a robot-infected ghost.
He's Max Luke's cousin.
But he's a robot.
Well, if it is a he. I don't think.
Well, it's whatever.
Robots
They're a
can-
robot,
Ghosts don't have
and
a
they
gender.
seek our destruction.
Do skeletons have a gender?
Skeletons have a
I
gender.
should
think
ask-
I think they do have a gender. Women have wider hips than men, so their skeletal hips are wider.
If we go by the Helvetica story, yeah, kind of. I mean, they keep the whatever they had when they were alive. I mean, I guess it's the same. It's preference.
What if your proportions are all over the place like Sans? How wide should Sans hips be to be a woman?
Oh my God.
Oh,
Are we,
oh
we
Jesus!
talking
in
about
heaven.
this?
Are we here now? Is this happening?
Welcome to whatever this is. No, it's just like, but like, essentially the skeletons, like, if we go by, yes, we're talking about Undertale lore, but what Undertale lore also has a little bit of Helvetica lore, and Helvetica lore is basically when you die, your skeleton goes on to live as something else, and even that body can die, which, interestingly enough, in that comic, when the skeletons die, they become dust.
Yeah, I think I heard something about this before. Yeah.
Yeah. And the weird thing, and the monsters become dust too. All right. So the question though is, what about their souls? Dun dun dun. Like, do you when Papyrus dies, do you see the heart, the upside down heart floating?
I never saw Papyrus die, so I
I
wouldn't know.
forget.
Because I don't think you do. It's different for them. Because they are not from that world.
Well, that's where the fan theory came from, that they're actually humans, didn't it?
What about
Yeah.
the ghosts? Do you see the ghost souls?
You don't see.
Like the dumb. I'd have to look at it again.
I don't know. I can you kill? Assuming you can kill Napstablook at the beginning.
I suppose,
I
but
forget.
he's already dead. That's so weird.
Well,
Yeah, I don't know.
if a monster's dead, they turn to dust.
Yeah.
Can't be dead then.
Oh.
Oh yeah. Danny Reese says you don't see the heart when anybody dies, only for boss monsters,
Okay.
Oh,
But-
okay.
and you only see everybody else's heart, souls, or whatever the hell. Yeah, because that's right. That's right. Regular monsters' souls disappear as soon as their bodies disappear. And only boss monsters' souls linger around for a little while. But for some reason, like when Flowey absorbed the souls, they were all there in the air.
Yeah.
Like he just ripped it out of everybody. Hey, Kabashi.
I'm still not sold on what the ghosts and the skeletons are. Just because.
Yeah.
I'm not sure anybody really knows. I mean, Toby probably knows, but he ain't telling anybody.
Dude, I don't even think he thought that far. I'll be honest with you.
I think we might be feeding just a smidgen too deep into it. I don't know.
Possibly, because I think that I think that like with a lot of stories out there, a lot of people just haven't thought super deep into a lot of things. Like some people are like, well, hey, what's Mora's government like? And I'm like, fuck if I know, guys. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I'm trying to figure that out myself. Like I'm trying to world build as I go,
Yeah.
and I've only
Oh god,
got.
I thought
like,
I was the only one. Oh, it feels so good to not be the only one.
Yeah, like I can't just come up and be like, well, what are all the financial like institutions and establishments that are in Waystone's story, Scappo?
No, I mean, people are asking me, like, who does Nyla report to? Is she the ruler? And, just... And I'm like, guys, I don't even know all this shit myself. I mean, I'm
Trying.
glad you're curious, but I don't know.
I mean, it helps you think about it. Like you go, hey, what is this stuff? And you can sit there and think about it for a bit. But otherwise, it's just like, dude, it's just like, what are their established trade routes? What is their foreign trade policy? Like
What are they-
pretty soon, it's like you're a fucking politician. It's just like,
Yeah.
what are their stance
What is-
on these political affairs?
What is the GDP of that area?
Oh, son of a
You
bitch!
All that shit.
What
Gonna
is
make
their
Nightmare
currency
Realms
based
great
on?
again.
What is Don's stance on education and abortion.
God. How does Mara feel about guns?
Oh, she'd totally fucking use guns.
She's
Is she
totally
pro
for gun
scub or
rights.
anti scub?
Pro what?
Is she pro scub or anti scub?
I have no idea what scub is.
No. You should read better comics.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my god.
Not none of that. Not none of that
Alright.
Marvel or
Guys,
yeah.
because this seems to be trailing off somewhere else, I'm gonna go ahead and I want to end the actual YouTube video bit. All right, and I'm
Are
just
you
gonna
done
ask
with your
you.
questions there?
Yeah. I mean, I had a couple more, but yeah. I mean,
What-
unless you want to answer the last
what
one,
are-
but let's
what are
get this one out of the way.
Yeah, let's do
Okay.
it.
I'll try to be more.
Who is your favorite antagonist of all time and why? Go.
I need a little bit of time to think of that. Shit.
AJ?
I'm gonna go ahead and say Dio Brando from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
I knew that's what he was gonna say.
Nice.
Well, his bullshit spans generations, and somehow his end game was to create this thing that will give him the power over causality. Period. End of sentence. Where he can speed up and slow down time at will, and eventually decide, okay, I don't like the way things worked out in this universe, so I'm going to go ahead and, end it, start it over with a few changes. Now, he actually died before he got that power, but he did set things in motion. Sorry for slurring, my mouth is pretty dry.
Mm-hmm.
He set things in motion to actually give someone else this power, to create this ideal world. And they failed horribly. Just because of a stupid ass-pull bullshit in that they super saturated the room he was in with oxygen, so when he sped up time, he breathed it in and it poisoned him and killed him. That's like 25, 30 years of story just down the drain with a stupid ass-pull death.
Jeez.
But the simple fact that this guy, this Dickensian dickhole, somehow became a vampire / I don't know, sex god, whose children were powerful enough, and his influence in a 1 or 2 year span was like profound enough to effectively change the entire universe. I think twice.
Definitely powerful. So, why do you get behind him? Like, what other than that power kind of?
Because he knew what he wanted and he got it. And even if he were to die, which he did, his plans were set in motion to accomplish it, and he accomplished it. Like, unequivocally. He ended this universe. The universe after that, like, the entire timeline also ended, and it didn't actually continue without his influence until, like, half of the next universe.
You might say he had determination.
You could say that.
No?
Maybe.
Okay.
I would love it for someone besides Megatron to be inspired by JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Oh.
I'm not saying that Toby Fox was inspired by JoJo. I'm just saying those poses. Like,
Yeah.
they cannot be denied.
Yeah.
Megatron is pretty goddamn fabulous.
This is true. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and give Matt a little bit more time to consider who he considers his favorite.
It's hard to say because there's been so many cool villains like that have been out there.
Well, let's say one of your favorites then.
One of my favorites. I really did like how they made Prince Zuko in Avatar, the animated show.
Yeah.
Because you at first see that he's just a guy who wants to get the Avatar, but then you see why, and then you understand why. You even understand why he keeps on betraying Aang and them when he considers joining them, but then he's like, no, maybe I shouldn't. Because here's the Avatar like in my clutches and I'm so close, and if I do this right now,
like my father would immediately, accept me back into his arms again. And that's what he wanted for the longest time. He just wanted his father to love him, slash he wanted to have his family honor back. And there was a shortcut, and it's kind of one of those things where it's he didn't just turn, like, go, I'm a good guy now. No, he was like, he considered it like several times, actually. Like, there were actually a few times where he and Aang were basically like, hey, we could be friends. And Aang even said, like, there was that one episode where Zuko had to disguise himself to help Aang escape imprisonment, and Aang was just like, hey, oh, it's you, it's Zuko, holy crap. It's just like, I didn't know you were like this, why can't we be friends? And like, Zuko shot fire at him to just basically scare him off. But that was that first show that, like, he kind of slowly became a good guy over time. But it's just like, it's one of those things where it's just like, he was a villain because of tragedy or because of certain events. And I really liked that. Like, Avatar, the animated series, had some of the best, like, character development and, like, character interaction that I've seen in a while. I did not see, Drake Wolf is mentioning Legend of Korra. I have not watched the Legend of Korra animation. Partially because I wasn't into the characters as much as I was the first one, and that's partially because of design. Like I always liked Aang, and I didn't like Korra. And like, with her, like, having interest in, like, those two guys, and I was just like, I don't really care about this. Who's she gonna date? She dates the girl. Oh, okay. It's just like, I had no interest in that. And I'm sure it's still a great show. It's awesomely animated, but yeah. I digress.
Well, what about your Scappo? Or are we not asking questions here?
No, you can ask questions. That's fine, man. I'm not omnipotent. It's tough, really, because, I mean, again, I've got a lot. It's a toss-up right now between Prince Arthas from the Warcraft lore and, oh geez, who else was I thinking about? Oh, it's so tough. But you know what? It's probably gonna be Prince Arthas, because he starts out and he's basically Two-Face, okay, and what happens during the start. I don't know if you guys have played Warcraft, like the RTSs.
Yeah, I played them for years.
What's that?
I played them for years.
Well, you remember, like, the Frozen Throne and all that stuff.
I never played WoW, but I know his story from the first two Warcraft 3 games. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So, like, he started off and he's like, this high and holy, prince, and he's basically Harvey Two-Face. He's perfect, okay? And during the events of the game, he just gets driven deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into insanity, okay?
To be fair, though, Frostmourne is an amazing weapon.
Frostmourne is an incredible weapon, and geez, I've always wanted a replica of Frostmourne, but they're always so freaking expensive.
Yeah.
But oh god, that final cinematic where he kind of walks into the throne room and just casually kills his father.
The crown just clanking on the ground, trail of blood.
It was so powerful.
Oh yeah.
Really powerful for me. And just, this guy that started off with the best intentions, and because he had such strong intentions and he really wanted to save his people, that was the back door that evil needed to get into his heart and to corrupt him.
Did Tang leave? Hold on a second.
Not sure. But yeah, oh god, I love that sword, and I love the story of Prince Arthas. Like how basically anything taken too far can destroy you, including, nobility. including the will to save your people. You have to draw the line somewhere.
Oh yeah.
You know?
They had that with Griffith in Berserk. Like Griffith was wanting to be a great guy. He wanted to make his crew great and everything, but ultimately he had a certain vision in mind of how great he would be, and he wanted to essentially achieve royalty and, I guess become king or something like that. And he was kind of impatient. And then when it came down to it, he was willing to sacrifice all of his men in order to get that greatness.
And that's after sacrificing his dignity and his body.
Yeah, he pretty much had no choice. And then the God Hand or whatever kind of fooled him. They made his mind revert kind of back to a childlike state. And they were like, look, if you want to get to the castle, you have to build a bridge of dead bodies. And he's like, what? And they're like, yeah, look, all your friends are here. They're willing to die for you. So why not let them die? It was really freaking, it was kind of creepy.
Very creepy.
The real villain of Berserk, though, is Alfheim. Because it took 8 goddamn years to get across the water to get there. So.
Yeah.
Matt, did you want to answer that Night Realms question I had, or?
Yes. You might want to ask it out loud, I guess, so everybody else can hear it.
Alright, well, the question was, can you name a villain from Night Realms, why you created them, and the thought process behind their creation?
Yeah, the main character I can have in mind, and it's good I name him because he's actually appeared, is Prince Mokyo. Prince Mokyo, I wanted to have a character who was a sadistic person, but and kind of a spoiled brat prince type character, but who necessarily didn't want to kill everybody. I kind of tire of bad guys who are just like, you offended me and thus I'm just gonna kill you because you're in the way. I kind of see that as like a kind of a stupid villain sometimes. Not all the time. I mean, obviously, people kill people that are to get something, like Game of Thrones. Great example. But Mokyo is kind of the person who he was born into this family, and he believes in what his father believes. Like, his father kind of they're all wood elves, and his father believes that the Doru need to essentially leave because the Doru at least helped the Emperor, and the Emperor is supposedly poisoning the land. Okay, and so Mokyo believes, it's bad that they're poisoning the land, but that's not really what I'm concerned with. What the hell? My phone reacted to me. I get lit up, and the microphone thing lit up. Weird. Anyway, so essentially, he doesn't really care about the things that his father cares about so much. He's more into owning people. Like, he's a collector. He wants to make everybody, like, if he sees a rare type of person, he's like, I want to have that. I want it for multiple reasons, to fuck it, to do whatever he wants with it, kind of. Yeah. And so he's kind of got this weird, like, he loves his possessions, but he's also jealous of them, and also, like, kind of abusive in some ways. And they all kind of, like, all of them kind of have, like, this weird, almost a Stockholm syndrome, and not. Mm-hmm. And there's this kind of weird, like, they would do anything for him, they'd die for him, that kind of thing. So it's kind of like, it was kind of like, the reason why I made him is because I wanted to explore that villain type. It kind of was inspired by Delando from Escaflowne, who, if you remember, he had a whole bunch of, like, young, attractive men as his henchmen, essentially. And so they kind of made him appear like he was gay, but you never knew for certain. And he kind of, like,
almost got off on when he would like punish them and stuff like that. Like he'd bite his finger and stuff before he slapped them around and stuff.
Yeah,
And
he
I was
would rub
like,
bandages on his face.
yeah, and so he would do that kind of thing, and you always kind of wondered why, but they never really told you. He just, those were the men he'd always choose. And then they kind of went off the deep end and were just like, oh, Delando's.
He's super kinky.
No, they kind of made it weird. They made it like, oh, he was an experiment and he used to be a girl, but they did an experiment on him that turned him into a dude and made him crazy and fly mechs. And so at the end, like, they just transform him back into the one dude's long lost sister. And so basically Delando disappears as a character, and it's just this like, oh hey, I'm a girl.
Oh yeah, wasn't she in a dress like at the end of the series?
Yeah, like
no longer in the red armor.
Yeah, she was back to being her original self, and Delando, the experiment, was gone. And they changed that in this Scaflani movie and made him like an actual character that was just a guy to begin with or whatever. But
Darth Vader the fuck out.
Yeah, but he didn't pilot a mech, and he wasn't Psycho, so he kind of lost.
Delando, yeah, he did.
He did?
Yeah, at the end.
Oh, he did? I thought Jajika was the one who.
No, Jajika was killed by what? Ricochet, whatever his name is.
Huh.
It's been a few years.
Are we talking about the movie?
Yeah, the movie.
Okay. I just remember Delando being on a horse for.
Oh,
most
Jesus,
of it.
yeah, where Vaughn blew the horse up for reasons.
Yeah, well. But yeah, so Mokyo is kind of like an interesting villain because he's kind of not a villain, but also kind of a villain. And so it's just like he's kind of got this like, it's not like he isn't willing to kill, but he's got this kind of like weird kind of relationship with the people that he considers his pets, essentially. And I wanted him to be, he's not the main villain, but he is a pretty like good villain. I just wanted to explore that kind of mindset, I suppose, in a character.
Okay. Well, that is interesting. I'm sure fans of Night Realms appreciate that that kind of brief exploration of Mokyo.
Yeah.
Just before we close out, do you guys want to kind of, let people know where they can find your stuff, or, where they can go and read Night Realms or something like that?
At the moment, all the Night Realms comics are on clubstripes.com. But we're in the process of switching to something new, and well, until that shows up, it has no web address.
Mm-hmm.
So keep an eye out on my FA page, Gunmouth on for Affinity.
Yep.
I've been
will
off
have
the grid
that
for so
little,
long that I have nothing specifically to plug. Hopefully, there may be.
Go ahead and
something
plug
soon.
your Patreon, man.
It's Patreon. I don't know the address. Google search TSAMPIKOS Patreon. I'm sure you'll find something.
Yes. And if that doesn't work, then I'll go through and I'll actually find the address. I'll put it in the low bar so you guys can find it. So yeah, that's about it. That was our discussion on villains, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And hopefully I'll see you in the next process video I post. Thanks a lot for listening to us. We will see you guys later. Say bye, guys.
Later.
Bye, everyone.
See you.